What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Speak Up Sports Podcast with Cass, Chris, and Shad. What's going on, fellas?
What's good? What's good?
What's good, yo?
Holiday weekend, Thanksgiving weekend, a tough week for all of our teams, obviously, but also, where our teams kind of fit in with everybody else. A big week for a lot of upsets. We saw the Rams go down, obviously, to the Panthers, obviously the Texans and the Colts. Colts are technically favorites. Falcons and the Jets. Falcons were favorites. The Eagles game, obviously the Bears getting a big win. Cowboys versus the Chiefs. Not sure exactly what the line is, but I don't think anybody thought that given the Chiefs' position and where the Cowboys were at, I didn't think that people thought the game was going to go like that. The Ravens losing to the Bengals. A lot of upsets this past week. So, what were you guys' thoughts on the past week and some of the biggest takeaways?
Like you said, Shai, a lot of upsets. One of the ones that, very shocking to me was probably the Ravens and Bengals upset. Ravens basically let the Bengals come in, they laid an egg against them. Didn't look good at all. But shout out to the Bengals. I mean, honestly, that's probably the craziest thing because what Joe Burrow said earlier when he was coming back, this division wide open. He's trying to come back and make some noise. So I mean, shout out to Joe Burrow. I mean, he talking his shit, but that was a huge game, and also, shout out to the Panthers. Being able to beat a very good Rams team. I mean, Matthew Stafford, in all intents and purposes, been lighting it up this year. And he probably had his very much the worst game of the season. So, I mean, shout out to the Panthers being able to pull that one off. So, those are my bigger takeaways.
Yeah, gotta agree with that Panthers Rams one. Even though, like you said, Stafford, he single handedly lost that game, but it's okay. He's been playing at a MVP pace all seasons. It's like as soon as he broke that record for the 28 passes in a row, then he immediately touchdown passes in a row. Then he immediately throws 2 picks, one of them being a pick 6. Very tough, but that's the shit that we saw the Panthers not be able to take advantage of just the week before against the San Francisco 49ers. They took advantage of the turnovers this time, scored. One of them being a pick 6 definitely helps. So it's good to see on their front. We'll see how they kind of finish out the season. I got to turn towards, like you said, Shad. It wasn't necessarily upset, but it's a disappointment in how the Pittsburgh Steelers looked overall as a team against the Buffalo Bills. Disappointing effort that you don't really see too much defense. It's because at the same time, it's not like Josh Allen had the best game ever. Obviously, James Cook got going a little bit, but that was just a disappointing effort. That's not what you want to see from a Pittsburgh team that literally had the division lead by 3-4 games and just collapsed like this. Now they're sitting at 500. Like you said, Chris, they're two losses clear of the Bengals. It could get interesting. I don't think it will. It could get interesting, though, these last 4 or 5 weeks. So they put themselves in that position. Definitely disappointing. And then the Chiefs, of course, coming out against the Cowboys. I know it's a road game. Thanksgiving Day. But it was a disappointing effort by their defense. They kind of got ate up, and Patrick Mahomes threw 4 touchdowns, 261. They ran the ball decently. But when you see the offense play that good, we usually don't see them lose like that. And Dallas has had everything for them. They had a great game plan by their offense. That was good to see. But definitely disappointing effort from the Chiefs defense as well.
Yeah, and honestly, I got to go back to it, but Dak was on my hot seat a couple weeks ago prior to his bye week. And one of the things I mentioned was you got, the couple easy games playing the Raiders, and then now you get to play Philly and Kansas City back to back. We'll kind of see how things go there. And, the Philly game was looking a little shaky to start, and obviously they were able to orchestrate a comeback. But going against Kansas City, which, it was a little bit of a back and forth game, I thought, in my opinion, it was one of Dak's better games of his career, just given the stakes of the situation. And like I mentioned, where Kansas City is, and how desperate they are on a big time night like Thanksgiving, where everybody's going to be paying attention, given the fact that it's Cowboys versus Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes coming back to Dallas. Like I said, the Chiefs being in the position that they are, coming off the win against the Colts, where everybody probably thought, well, not everybody, but a lot of people probably thought, hey, they're about to take off.
Back. Yeah,
they're back, and kind of like I mentioned, they're not winning. They're not just winning out. Like that's not going to be a thing. So we're still back on. I guess we're on a week-to-week watch moving forward for Kansas City. And probably on a week-to-week watch with the Cowboys as well. They're probably completely out of it, but you never know.
It's fun though. They're making it fun. I will say that. That's
if
good.
You went out, I always feel like you went out, you can just pencil yourself in, because people are going to lose. Things are going to happen. I don't know if a bunch of teams above them are just going to win out. So maybe they do win out. We shall see. It was also good to see on Sunday Night Football the Washington Commanders kind of fight to keep their season alive. I don't know exactly. We'll see if Jaden Daniels ends up coming back. We'll see what kind of players they end up keeping next season, but you should feel some type of confidence in the fact that we already knew that you kind of nailed the coaching hire with Dan Quinn, but with how the season was going, you may have felt a little shaky. Even in a loss, I think that you can kind of see, like, yeah, this team is at least well prepared to some extent. I understand that it's the Denver offense, but they were still moving the ball against Denver's defense, and went to a tough, close game in overtime. So I thought that was good to see. And then obviously Denver and New England keeping it rolling.
And Chicago.
Chicago to an extent. Not to hate on Chicago's win, but I'm not sure if that's more of how the Eagles played versus Chicago. And honestly, Chicago did kind of run, they ran all over the Eagles. And, that is something to be commendable, because that is a strength of theirs. And the Eagles knew that was a strength of theirs, and they still weren't able to stop it. So, I'm kind of talking myself out of it. Yeah, we'll throw Chicago in there. Yeah. But no, that was a good win. Basically every team on Thanksgiving and Black Friday, all of them were basically upsets. All of them basically had the teams that won had really, really good games for their seasons, and could possibly define each team's season. The Bears, we all thought that they weren't going to be this good, and their passing offense, even they've admittedly said, is pretty bad at this point. It's not great, and now they're the first seed, and it's kind of up. It's all in front of them. Dallas, like we mentioned, has an opportunity to get into the playoffs. Cincinnati,
we'll see.
We'll see.
Green Bay sweeping the previous division winner of last year, so that was a big time win for them as well. Jordan Love had a great game as well, so it could be something that's season defining for all of them, and really in all the primetime games, because like I said with the Washington game, that was a tough game that if you give away, given where New England is, that could have been detrimental for the Broncos season. And then obviously New England on Monday Night Football, it seemed like everything was going their way, like the first 4 or 5 drives, and it was basically over with by halftime. So, all of them could be season-defining wins. That I feel like for the Patriots specifically, you typically see when those teams kind of start to figure out, hey, like, we're really great. Shit, like games like that happen, like especially on a primetime night. So.
Yeah, I can't keep denying the Patriots and Drake May, man. I understand all the talk about the schedule and stuff, and I agree with it.
His name is Six, man. He plays 6. No, we're doing that. Everybody who want to be called single number their ass, but go ahead.
Nah, man. Jackson Dart, real quick, dude. You gotta be careful.
You gotta
chill, man. Like, I understand what he's saying too. Like in the post game presser, like some people gave him flack for that. You're a football player, you've been playing this way all his life. But at the end of the day, bro, it's your first year. You gotta chill. This is a quarterback position. It's not like you want to run your head through the wall like you're running back. That's not what you play, and that's not how you make your money. It's gonna be interesting to see if somebody talked to him after that and say, yo, no, that's not the right mindset. Hopefully somebody did. We'll see going forward. But like Jackson Dart, he has a chance to be that guy for a marquee New York franchise. And you could end that in a couple of years with this. I mean, his legs were in the air, Chris. I mean, he got flipped, man.
I think the biggest thing is he already had a concussion and possibly had another one that they didn't diagnose or whatever the case may be. Early and it's like, yo, you already, like, when you get multiple concussions, those are multiple games out. That ain't no just one or two. Those are multiple games out. And, like, you setting a precedence for your rookie year to be, I'm concussion prone. Like, you can't do that shit.
It's a little rough.
To be honest, I really don't think he was like, I really don't think his comments come from a place of like he was trying to be macho man. I think it was more of like I'm tired of y'all asking me about this. I understand I got my ass.
I'm good with his comments.
That's why I said like
people. I'm just talking about his play. I'm good with
it.
Comments,
I think he was more so like, but I'm just saying like in general, a lot of the media, national media has come at his neck. But I feel like he was kind of just, it was more like, bro, y'all keep asking me about this. Obviously I had a concussion. Obviously I got smacked. Like, I'm learning through it, but I think ultimately what he was saying is football. Like, so there are going to be times that I get hit. Is this going to be a conversation every single time I get hit? With that being said, don't play them games. And more so, I don't even, to be honest, I don't even think that's really a him thing as much as it's, Christian Ellis. Like, defenders need to do that more often. Like, with these Patrick Mahomes, we see people talk about Josh Allen flopping. Lamar's not really necessarily a guy that gets hit like hard like that, but all these guys that are rolling out scrambling, if when they're trying to manipulate the sideline and the rules and stuff like that, you do have to hit them. So, I guarantee we didn't really see Dart doing that again after that game. I guarantee you a lot of players not doing it after a hit like that. Like, the hit shot, one dude wanted to fight on the Giants, another dude was just looking because he like, whoa.
He popped up quick too. That's how you know he was shot by that shit.
Yeah, bro. Like, so it definitely shocked the system. So
I mean, the announcers was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah,
that's what they really wanted to say.
Yeah, look, I do think that Jackson Dart he's flashed in a damn near every game that he's played, including this one. It got out of hand pretty quickly, and you can see the frustration. You really saw the frustration on all the Giants players last night. And we'll kind of probably dive into that if you guys are avid Hard Knocks fans. We'll see that over the next couple of weeks with all these, really everybody in the NFC East having some type of turmoil throughout this season. Some people have gotten through it. Some people are entering it. It's going to be interesting to see. But getting into the most important part of the show, we got to get into the hot seat watch this week. What's going on? Who y'all had last week, and who you guys got this week, and why?
Get it.
So last week I had the Buffalo Bills on my hot seat. They won the game, like you said earlier, Cass. It was more so, I guess you could say, geared towards a James Cook performance. Josh Allen, it was okay performance by him, but I mean the team needed a bounce back game. Unfortunately, the Steelers, that's a game they didn't really need to drop, but they dropped anyway, so it is what it is. So that was my hot seat. I thought about putting the Detroit Lions and Jared Goff on the hot seat because the last few weeks, their team has been kind of reeling a little bit, and they really need a performance. But I'm gonna be selfish this week, man. I'm gonna put the Eagles on the hot seat. I'm gonna put one name, two players on the hot seat. One name, two players: Jalen Hurts and Jalen Carter. So we just played the Chicago Bears this week, and like Shai said earlier, I mean they have a good running game, but man, they were getting blown off the fucking ball. Jalen Carter has not had a good year for us this year. He had flashes here and there, but entering this season, most people would assume that, he was going to take that next step, and he has not quite did that at all. I mean, he had, little nicks here and there, but I mean, it's enough with the excuses of the injury, man. You gotta play. Our defense is based off of that front four getting pressure, being able to stop the run. When that does not happen, that defense will not look good. That is the case. That has always been the case, and that will always be the case with that defense. So I'm looking for him to step up. He needs to step his game up. And offensive side, Jalen Hurts, probably your worst game of the season. Probably the worst game I've seen him play since probably when we played the Jets. I think it was 2 years ago. Man, I mean, I would love to say, it was the weather, 40 miles per hour wind, but I mean, it was just like, it wasn't just that. It was just miscommunications all over the field. And this season is going to define who you really are. Like this is going to I'm putting this all on your shoulder because I believe in you. I actually think you're a good quarterback. You might not be top 5 like everybody, like some people might claim. But I think you're a good quarterback. I think you're a good quarterback for this system. But you have to step up. Like it's no more games, man. No more games. You have to step the fuck up, and you got an opportunity because guess what? Dallas, they right behind you, man. You can't afford no more slip up. You had your 2 slip ups back to back just now. I'm gonna chalk that up as a short week because as you seen early in the season, our other 2 losses came on short week. We played Denver, then a short week played Giants, got blown out. Same thing, same deal that happened this week. So I'm gonna chalk that up to that. I'm looking for this next game. I'm looking for some kind of consistency. I don't need no dominant performance. I don't need no 30-point game. Consistency. That's what I fucking need. So I'm putting Jalen Hurts and Jalen Carter on the motherfucking hot seat. Show me something, man.
Okay. Big game Monday night. We're gonna see.
Hey, man.
Broke hand, Herbert. All right. Last week I had Trevor Lawrence, Jacksonville Jaguars on the hot seat. They were able to go handle business on the road against albeit it's a bad team, but division games are division games. But they handled business, 25-3 win over Tennessee. And now they're in a position where they have the prime opportunity. And that's why I'm going to cheat a little bit. Carrying over Trevor Lawrence, you're still on the hot seat this week. You have the prime opportunity to go and actually you're at home, beat the Indianapolis Colts. Take control of the division, which you're already in first, but take strong control of it. Ward off the Houston Texans, because at this point, it is what it is with the Texans. You just got to worry about beating the Colts, beat Tennessee, you're all right. Beat the Colts twice, actually, now. Beat Tennessee, you're all right. This is your chance, Trevor Lawrence, to take. And I picked Jacksonville to win this division, but pre-season. It started off, they were a little up and down. They had a good record. They've always had, they've always been above 500 all season, but now it's getting close to the end. Now you're looking at it, it's like, hold on now, the Jacksonville Jaguars, even though they had these injuries to Britt Strange, Travis Hunter, these important guys on their team, they're still here. Even through all the fucking drops that we saw in the first half of the season from all the receivers, especially BTJ, this is still your chance. You're right here to take control of this division, beating the Indianapolis Colts, that a team that is searching for answers themselves and need to get back on the winning track. It's a huge game. Overall, Trevor Lawrence, this is the moment that you need to kind of solidify this early part of your career. It's a huge game on both sides, but I got to go Trevor Lawrence again for a hot seat this week, man. I got to see it. You make too much money. Here we go.
He does have an opportunity, but
yeah,
25-3 against the Titans. He was up big. You gotta finish it, but we'll see. Now, I got 2 guys on my hot seat this week, both for similar reasons, but different reasons at the same time. So, first and foremost, 2 quarterbacks. I got Jared Goff. Last week, I had Dave Canales on my hot seat. Obviously, they had a big-time win against the Rams, but, they did, one of the things that I mentioned was finding the offensive identity. And it does seem that, they're kind of riding the hot hand in the running back room. But the growth of Bryce Young needs to continue. Obviously, we've seen some reports today that they're probably going to exercise his 5th-year option as well, which is a big time decision that we've obviously talked about needs to be made here soon. So we'll continue to see what that looks like. But like I said, I've got 2 quarterbacks on my hot seat this week. Being Jared Goff and Sam Darnold. So As Chris mentioned, the Lions have had some tough games over the past couple weeks, but their offense has been inconsistent. I wouldn't say that it's been bad, but it's been inconsistent, and definitely some of these dumbass going for it when you don't necessarily need to has aided in that as well. But they have shown the ability to move the ball, and now they do have a receiver that's hurt. But we have seen Jameson Williams start to step up. I mean, maybe even he's the wide receiver. We'll kind of see there. But Jared Goff ultimately putting up a great year in terms of statistically, but if we look at some of the losses, I guarantee you a lot of talking heads and a lot of people around will think the offense or you guys aren't winning these games because of how he's performed against pressure. Obviously, like I mentioned, the failed fourth downs. They're going to mention some of the limitations with you not being mobile, as some of these other quarterbacks are, to be able to be a playmaker and whatnot. So over the next couple weeks, you have an opportunity. You just lost, like I mentioned, got swept by a division rival in the Packers on Thanksgiving. But you have an opportunity, and I wouldn't necessarily say they're your rival, but it's a team that definitely has some history here on Thursday night against the Cowboys, a team that's also hot, a team that you guys whooped their ass last year after some controversy the year prior. This is another opportunity on a primetime night to show, you are the guy. You have been playing really well all season, but it seems like everybody's been talking about everybody else but Jared Goff. We talk about Jahmyr Gibbs. We've been talking about Jameson Williams. We've been talking about Aiden Hutchinson. Obviously, he signed his contract. We talked about all these other quarterbacks, Dak, Daniel Jones, Lamar, Patrick, Jalen Hurts. We never talk about Jared Goff. So here's your opportunity against the Cowboys, knowing that there's going to be a spotlight on Thursday night. Then you have the Rams the very next week. We'll see what you do. And really, you have the Steelers as well. So you have you got an opportunity to go against the Cowboys, which is the most popular team in the league. You got an opportunity to go against the league MVP at this point and your former team, which is going to be a big-time game. And then you obviously have a game against the Steelers, which maybe not as big-time, second most popular team in the league. So eyes are going to be on you, Jared Goff. Let's see what you do. And then Sam Darnold also having a pretty good season, but the way people talk about the Seahawks versus, definitely after the loss against the Rams, they've talked about you, possibly going back into pumpkin mode when it comes to the playoffs and stuff like that. They've also talked about, obviously you've shown that you just played the Minnesota Vikings in a big game. You showed possibly that they made a mistake not going with you as opposed to JJ McCarthy or Max Prosper, whoever the hell they got out there. But one thing that a lot of people haven't been talking about, like they have been talking about some other teams, is that y'all really ain't beat nobody. Y'all lost against everybody, damn near everybody good that y'all have played. People have given you guys credit for, whooping on some bad teams, even though you guys might not have looked too great because they didn't look that good against Tennessee and could have lost that game. This game against Minnesota, they had damn near 100 turnovers, and I mean, not to say that it didn't look good. You shut a team out. Still, the offense wasn't necessarily potent. So losing against the 49ers week one, losing against Baker in that big game, you obviously got to beat Trevor Lawrence and Houston while they were kind of down. But here's your opportunity to show what you got. You got the Falcons this week, which I'm not saying it's a big game, but they have a defense that's up there in the league lead in sacks. So, they are going to be swarming and trying to get after you. And, obviously they have a coach that's possibly fighting for his job. They have a quarterback that's possibly fighting to stay relevant and not be, a career backup for the rest of his career or even be forced into retirement. So it's still a team that is, viable in some way, shape, or form. They're trying to play spoiler and keep their season alive. Then you have the Colts the following week, which is that's going to be a big game that a lot of eyes are going to be on. It's a 4:00 game, a window game as well. And then once again, you have the league MVP currently in Matt Stafford on a Thursday night game. So a couple games for these two quarterbacks to kind of show, maybe not necessarily the Falcons game for the Seahawks, but the Colts and the Rams are definitely going to be games that there are going to be eyes on those. So, what are you guys able to show us over these next couple of weeks? And are you guys able, or Jared Goff and Sam Darnold both have a kind of a stigma about you? Are you able to break that over the next few weeks heading into the playoffs? So we shall see. And also, Jared Goff, you got to get in the playoffs, actually.
Got to.
Right now, on
Got
outside
to. It's
looking
up in the air. Up in the air right now. Very much up in the air.
So we shall see. It's going to be, it makes for a pretty interesting next few weeks because a lot of teams are pretty viable, which even this week, some of the games that we have picked doesn't include the Colts and the Jaguars, which is obviously a division game. Like it's a lot of big time games going on. So what was our picks looking like last week, Cass?
Nah, skip that. No, let's not talk about them picks.
Rough week.
That shit
Rough
nasty.
week. So as Chris just alluded to, he had 1 out of the 6 right last week. That was Denver on Sunday night against Washington, which
I almost didn't get that motherfucker.
Exactly.
Very tough.
Shaw was close with you. Although he did pick Chicago to beat Philly, which was a big guess. He also said that was Chicago's last win for the season. We'll see. We'll see what comes from that.
We'll see.
But I had 4 out of 6, so good week for me. I was honestly able to catch up a little bit. I ended up picking Green Bay, Cincinnati, of course, Joe Burrow. Never doubted my boy. And I picked
Joe Burrow game, but
it is what it is. And then I picked New England as well. So, which New England made quick work of that game. So that brings us on the season total. I'm at 39. Chris, you were at 43. Shy, you were at 42. Everybody's still in it right now. That was a big week for me. I had to come back. Shot on your ass too, though.
Crazy.
Thursday night, we got the Dallas Cowboys going to visit the Detroit Lions. Who you guys got this week and why?
Man, this is a huge game for both teams, like you said, Shad. I mean, Detroit right now, they on the outside looking in. They lost 2 times to the Packers, so it's almost like their only way to get in is the wild card. And I mean, Dallas still have obviously a shot at the division, depending on what the Eagles do. But this is a tough game to pick. I was leaning toward Dallas just because they're on the heater, but I just feel like Detroit needs this. Detroit really, really needs this, and I think they're going to lean heavy on Jahmyr Gibbs. I think it's going to be a big Jahmyr Gibbs game. I think Dallas they have obviously shore up their defense a little bit as far as the inside, but they do a lot of outside zone runs for Detroit. So I'm actually expecting a light show because Detroit defense they're solid. I just don't trust the back end as much, but I still think they come out there and make plays. Man, I'm interested to see what the Cowboys look like because they've been looking good the last 2 weeks, but they were at home, so they will be on the road in Ford Field. So I like to see what happens, but I'm gonna roll with Detroit with this one. Close game.
It's an interesting one, man. I'm gonna go with Dallas on this one. I think they keep it rolling a little bit. You see the confidence that's going through that locker room. We saw, of course, on the Hard Knocks. Even from that Philly game, even when they were down, they still got that confidence. They can't fuck with us, stuff like that. Now you say, like you said, Chris, they are on the road this time. I think that will make a difference. Detroit is kind of up and down, kind of reeling a little bit. They haven't lost back-to-back games. It's a very risky choice I'm making right now, but I'm gonna go with Dallas on this one. Then they keep it rolling on the road.
I'm going with Detroit in this one. Very tough pick for me because I do think that George Pickens will have another big game, really, and CD. But I just think Detroit being at home will really test that Dallas run defense. Much improved run defense that we've been told about. I think that Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery both have really good games. And one thing that hasn't been talked about enough is the loss of Sam Laporta, him being out for the season. I'm wondering how much that's gonna kind of as the season goes on, how that's gonna continue to affect their offense. But in this one, I'm gonna rock with Detroit. And I also think that Jared Goff has a solid game as well. So we'll see, though. It's gonna be a good one. Really good Thursday night games over the past couple of weeks. But getting into the next game, we'll see where Cass lies here. But we got Cincinnati going to Buffalo Obviously, two teams coming off really big wins. Who you guys got this week and why?
I'm gonna roll with Buffalo this week. I think they're gonna lean heavy on their run game. I still don't think Bengals got a good defense, but I think their offense will, get in a better flow than they did this last game. But I just think right now, the Bills. I mean, this is the interesting part about a lot of these games. None of these teams are solidified at this point. You know what I'm saying? Both of those teams, they're fighting because at this point, we can all assume New England's probably gonna win that division. So Buffalo can't afford to have any slip up because they got shit. They ain't playing nobody, so they get all these easy doors. But anyway, Buffalo can't afford to lose any games right now. It's not solidified that they're gonna make the playoffs. So I think they know that. They're gonna come in. I think they'll get the W. So I'm gonna roll with Buffalo.
Yeah.
This man here.
Buffalo could be looking ahead a little bit. They got a huge game next week against the Patriots, who are coming off of their bye week that they have this week. Big game. I'm going to go with Buffalo, though. I'm going to go with Buffalo on this one. Like you said, Chris, I think they are the most desperate team. They have to win this game. If we're being honest right now, you look at the landscape of what's going on right now, they could be that team that's in the AFC that has, pretty much the playoff experience, the AFC playoff experience, at least. If you messing around, like, this is your opportunity. Sean McDermott is coaching for his job, I believe. It's a bad loss if you mess around and lose to a Cincinnati team that albeit I don't think T. Higgins is playing this week either, which will be a big loss for them. It was last week, but they were able to get some friendly rolls from Lamar their way. But I think that shows up this week, especially if T doesn't go. I got Buffalo in this one, and they are at home, which is huge.
I'm also rocking with Buffalo in this one. Cincinnati, they did put up 32 points, but they got a touchback off a walk-in touchdown by Isaiah Likely. They got another touchdown pulled off the board with a weak offensive pass interference call. They had
red zone offense was hideous.
Phantom fumble from Lamar. They had a fumble from Zay Flowers at the end. I mean, it was just ugly. A lot of turnovers for the Ravens that kind of aided in the Bengals more so than the Bengals, looking just potent on offense. And then, like you mentioned, the red zone offense was it was very tough. Buffalo, I don't think that they found their groove. I think Pittsburgh is just reeling at this point. But I do think that Cincinnati's defense is bad enough where they'll be able to run and have a really good game. And we'll kind of see what happens with Joey Bosa because I know he got nicked in the last game as well. We'll see how that affects things. But T. Higgins also not being there, I think that Buffalo will be able to do enough against Jamar that it'll nullify anything against Cincinnati. So, but Cincinnati's run game has been better. Chase Brown has been a lot better over the past few weeks, really since since Flacco came in, comparatively to the start of the season. So maybe that affects things as well. But getting into the next game, another tough one and a big time game considering what happens in this game that we just talked about. Pittsburgh going to Baltimore. Obviously, two teams coming off tough losses to the two teams I just mentioned. Who you guys got this week and why?
And like you said, Shy, both teams coming off very, very tough losses. But I'm gonna have to roll with the Ravens on this one, man. Pittsburgh, they just don't look good right now. Aaron Rodgers out here getting lit up. He just got here getting lit up. I mean, I'm assuming he's gonna play. Obviously, they got him questionable, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna play. But I'm still gonna roll with the Ravens. Like you said, Shy, a couple of plays here and there. I mean, they would have clearly more points on the board than they did. I mean, I'm not gonna say uncharacteristic because just the week before they didn't look that good, but I believe that, like you said, this past week it was just some crazy shit that don't happen every game. So I think they'll be able to put up enough points, and I just don't think Pittsburgh got that offensive power to even keep it close. So I'm gonna have to rock with Baltimore with this one.
I gotta go with Baltimore in this one as well. This It's a huge game for them, though. And it's a huge game for John Harbaugh. And I mean, you look at the rest of their schedule. You look at the rest of their schedule after this game, man. It could get really. I mean, you got Cincinnati, but you got New England, you got Green Bay, you got Pittsburgh again. At Pittsburgh, you have to win this game, and it might end up not even mattering at the end of the day. But this is a game when you look back on the schedule and you say, okay, it's a home game against Pittsburgh. You know, we had a chance to win it, take control of the division, and we couldn't do it. And that'll be very disappointing to see from a team that had as high hopes. I mean, all of us had them in the Super Bowl this year preseason, and you know they started how they started, but now they're in a position now where they're able to bounce back right now. So blowing this chance would be very disappointing for this team, for that coach, for that city. So I got to go Baltimore. I think they understand the stakes, but if they lose this game, man, that'll be bad.
Baltimore in this one, and another one of those typical Baltimore Pittsburgh games where it's a low scoring one. I don't think that the Pittsburgh offense is going to be, able to do very much at all, but I can see the Steelers just having some pride, just giving the way the last game went, where they created a couple turnovers to keep the game close, but ultimately the Ravens win in a low scoring game in the end. So, but if they don't, it's going to be interesting conversations on both sides, because right now they're calling for Mike Tomlin's head. And, Aaron Rodgers is. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is necessarily doing anything out of the ordinary, but people don't like when you call people out. But hey, it's not scoring. I don't know. Some niggas need to. John knew. But anyway, in the next game, we got Chicago going against Green Bay. Obviously, Chicago, number 1 seed in the NFC right now. Hated division rival in Green Bay. Who you guys got this week and why?
Ooh, man. This is probably gonna be a slugfest, man. I think both teams. They obviously, this is an opportunity for both teams. This is an opportunity for Chicago to literally solidify themselves and obviously keep number 1 seed. This is an opportunity for Green Bay to come back and try to capture that number 1 seed. I'm gonna have to rock with Green Bay on this one. I understand, Chicago has a legit running game, but I just think that they're very much stout up front, and I have not seen enough from Caleb this year to warrant an amazing throwing of the football against another team. So I'm a roll with Green Bay on this one. I think it's a close game, but I just don't think I just don't know as far as Caleb. I don't know how he's gonna look, because he didn't have to throw that ball that much last week, so it is what it is. So we're gonna see, but I'm gonna roll with Green Bay. I think their defense is do enough to slow that off.
I'm rolling with Green Bay too on this one. Like you said, I feel like it's gonna take a really sound, really good Caleb game, and I don't like you said, Chris. I don't know. He's still bottom of the league pretty much, and in completion percentage on the season. He's coming out of these games with 150 passing yards. I understand that a lot of times you don't have to do too much, and that's how it is in the offense, especially the run game. But I feel like this is one where he's really going to have to step up, and I don't know if he can do it until I see. I can't go with him. I think Green Bay, they're at home, which definitely helps. I think it's a huge game for their run game to get going with Josh Jacobs. So I got Green Bay in this one.
I got Green Bay. Chicago's not
That's it.
Yeah. Say less.
It is what it is. So getting into our Sunday night game, we got 2 teams going kind of in opposite directions right now, but a huge game for both teams. Houston's visiting Kansas City. Obviously, Kansas City coming off of a disappointing loss, and Houston coming off of a big-time division win. Who you guys got this week and
why? Interesting game. I said it last week. The loser of the Cowboys and Chiefs game, they kissed their season goodbye. So I'm picking Houston. I just think that defense is legit. I understand, Patrick Mahomes and Chiefs, they kind of got a little thing, got some things going last week, but I still think the Houston have enough on their defense to slow them down. I'm not sold on their offense, but I just think their defense is just that good that they'll be able to keep their game low scoring. And low scoring game, Houston has been prone to win those type of games. So I'm gonna roll with Houston on this one.
He was a little better with it the last couple of weeks, I guess you could say. Patrick Mahomes with the pressure, but I still think Houston's Houston's defensive line is just a different animal. It's gonna be a very tough game for Kansas City to win. On top of that, like I mentioned earlier, very disappointed how their defense looked against the Cowboys. You get another week of CJ Stroud getting more comfortable in the offense. We'll see how we'll see how that goes. But if they can get any sense of an offensive game going, especially a run game, it's gonna be very tough for Kansas City to win this. I got Houston winning this one. Wouldn't be surprised if Kansas City win though, but I got Houston.
So we're all on Houston. I got Kansas City in this one. I think just similar to it just has I kind of feel the same way that I kind of felt leading up to the Colts game. Like I felt the Colts were a better team than the Kansas City, but it just felt like even though I picked them, it was just like, bro, they're just not gonna not do something. Like there's just no way it's gonna happen like this, like where they're not at least there in the end. And that's kind of how I feel the same way. And even with the Colts getting up how they got up, it was just like it's just not gonna happen this way. So I feel the same way. It seems like everybody's kind of doubting, and probably popular belief is going to be Houston's going to go in there and win. They're on a win streak. They just shut down the number one offense in the league. Kansas City's coming off of a loss to a team, like I said, the Cowboys, that probably a lot of people the Cowboys are known to not play big in those moments. The Chiefs are known to play big in those moments. To see it and go the opposite way has people loving the Cowboys and has people down on the Chiefs right now. And the Chiefs are missing their left tackle, their right tackle, and possibly their guard. So it all adds up to a Houston win. So that means Kansas City's gonna win.
All right, I mean that's how it be sometimes.
I'm Kansas City in this one.
You said a couple of home cooking calls. Yeah, I know.
Hey,
but I don't think that Houston's offense played well in spots last week. I just think that Kansas City will be able to get after them a little bit, and then we'll see what the rest of the season looks like. And then for our final Monday night game, we've got the Philadelphia Eagles going to Los Angeles to face the Chargers. Who you guys got this week?
Like I said, man, I put my team on the hot seat. We gotta go in there and get the W. It's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Ain't no sugarcoat, none of this shit. Go in there and get the motherfucking W. It is what it is. Obviously, Justin Herbert did have surgery on his non-throwing hand, but I mean, he's clearly gonna play. So I'm not even hoping or thinking, he's gonna play. But we need to get after him. They ain't got that. They are missing their two best tackles. We need to get after Justin Herbert, and we need to show that we can actually stop the run, because that shit that you put on last week was nasty work. But I'm rolling my Eagles, so I got them winning this game. Get back on track.
We gonna see. I'm gonna rock with the Chargers in this one at home. It's gonna be an interesting one for sure, though, man. We'll see if Justin Herbert can kind of get going. Like you said, Chris, your run defense last week, not good at all. And you saw on the flip side, which I understand is also the Raiders, so it is what it is. But Kimani Vidal was able to get going on the ground last week. Of course, they get their rookie back, get him going in the run game. I think they rely on that this week at home. Try not to make Justin Herbert do too much. This game will come down to turnovers, though, for me. Whoever wins the turnover battle is going to win this game. And I think they'll get one. So I got the Chargers.
It's a tough one.
Yes.
I'm also rocking with the Chargers in this one. And I think this might be one of their last few wins of the season. So I think they need it. Whereas I think the Eagles I think the Eagles have a good game. I think the Chargers just make one extra play because they have Kansas City coming up, and if Kansas City wins, or depending on what happens on Sunday night, I think they get a little bit of a boost, whether win or lose. Because obviously, if they lose, Kansas City's out of it. If they win, Kansas City's still on their heels. So, I think that the Chargers win this one, maybe by like a game-winning field goal. I'm going with the Chargers at home. And we got some more questions about the Eagles next week. But speaking of questions, we didn't talk about it much, but talk about I don't even know what the word I'm looking for, but Talk about a shot to the heart for the Lions with Frank Ragnow not being able to come back like we thought. News broke while we were on the show last week, and now a few days later we hear that he tore his hamstring off the bone.
How does that
Somehow
happen?
we're just
How does
walking
that-
around like regular civilian. His hamstring is completely off the bone, man. Talk about that. I mean, that's got to be disappointing for them. And I mean, we saw exactly why they felt that they needed him with that game against the Packers. So
No, for sure. And it's tough because when you have your physical, like when a guy that hasn't played all season, to make this decision, you would think that you're in peak health at this point in the season. So to come in and boom, you got what was it, grade 3 hamstring injury? It's like what happened? Like what really happened right there? And then you come out and say that okay, you don't know what's going to happen next, like with 2026 and what's going to go on with him if he ever tries to come back. It leaves a lot of questions. Detroit is in a very interesting spot right now. A very interesting spot, especially if they don't make the playoffs this season. It's going to be very, it could get very dicey there. You already stripped the offensive coordinator of his play calling duties. That is the last thing you want in a season that you lost, the season after you lost Ben Johnson, who you see is having a lot of success, obviously, with Chicago. Aaron Glenn, not so much, but it is what it is. But to strip your head, so basically you had to go into this off season. You got to figure out what you're going to do with your O-line. You got to figure out what you're going to do with the offensive coordinator position. You got to figure out if you're going to pay J-Mo, what are you going to pay him? And it's like, if you want to keep him, you know what I mean? Like, or you could pay him. Obviously, you already paid him, but if you want to keep him like that, how you want to roll this 1-2 punch? There's a lot of questions, especially defensively, personnel-wise. So,
yeah, I think more of their questions are going to be on the defensive end because they've got some guys that number one is Terrion Arnold. He's shown flashes this season, but with him being out for the rest of the season, it makes it pretty tough. So we're definitely going to have to find some answers there at cornerback. DJ Reed's been hurt this season as well.
They also got Rakestraw, right? And it's Rakestraw?
Yeah.
He's been hurt.
So, it's got a lot of injuries that they've had to worry about on the defensive end. And then, obviously, with Aiden signing his huge contract, with the contract starting to kick in, they're going to have to start hitting on some of their draft picks as well. But, offensively, I think they'll be fine, kind of keeping things the way they are. We'll see what Tesla looks like next year. Obviously, they'll be getting Sam a quarterback. And then, you kind of expect some of the young guys that you have on the offensive line to take another step. So, I don't necessarily – I think it's more so because of the suddenness of the retirement and then, thinking he's going to come back and the suddenness of him not coming back, it makes it very tough. I don't know why he retired. I imagine it may have had something to do with health or wanting to feel better or whatever the case may be. I just don't see, in a world where you were just walking around, I don't know, we don't necessarily know if he thought he was hurt or he felt a little, he felt it or whatever. But if he was just walking around like everything was all good with a torn hamstring, it probably will be something mentally that he'll be like, I probably need to calm down for a second. Let me really get my body, back healthy. So I don't know. I just have a feeling that the next year is kind of a pipe. Switching over to the NBA side before we sign off, two very interesting things have happened over the past 24 hours. First being Chris Paul has officially been told to go home from the Los Angeles Clippers. And second being, which I don't know if this is that big of a news, Giannis, I guess, kind of flirting with possibly asking for a trade or whatever, again. So, what are your thoughts on, more specifically the Chris Paul thing, but I guess if you want to speak on Giannis' antics, that too.
Man, that Giannis stuff, I'm interested to see what happens. Of course, we talked about this a little bit at the start of the NBA offseason in the summer. What could happen with him? It's a lot up in the air. And with this Giannis situation, until something happens, I really don't care. Honestly, it's hard. It's really hard for me to care about this saga. Obviously the Bucks have not had the start of the season that they would like to have had, especially with a guy of his caliber. But at the same time, we'll see. That's all. That's all I gotta say. To be honest, enough of that shit. But it's Chris Paul. Chris Paul's story is very interesting, man. It's gotten everybody talking about it. Past players, obviously, players that were connected to the Clippers organization coming out, coming out with their side, what they've heard. And it just falls in line with what they got going on. They're 5-16 on the season. It's been a train wreck, and it's not like Kawhi. Like Kawhi's been healthy for 70% of the season so far. He's been playing. James Harden has been there. They just ass, so like it's tough because you had some hopes, but even like this is bottoming out for the Clippers in this kind of way. They've never had a season like this with, obviously they had PG in the past and Norman Powell and other stars, but they still have James Harden and Kawhi. They've never had a season like this in the past, 5, 6, 7 years. This is bottoming out. So I'm not surprised about how things are kind of going there. It is unfortunate because we just found out not even 2 weeks ago or whatever that Chris Paul is making this his retirement, his last season, and then you come out.
He basically said it before the season.
He did, but nobody caught on. Yeah,
I don't know why. Like he already announced it and then trying to re-announce it.
It's really happening.
It's really happened. Like y'all, that's how y'all got for me.
So I mean, but for him the whole story about like him and Ty Lue not on speaking terms for a couple of weeks, Orange Frank making a trip from Cali to Atlanta to tell him to go home. Honestly, it's a lot of turmoil with the organization, but it's hard to say you didn't see this coming. Kind of with what they have been. Like I said, this is a different level because they bottomed out this season. It's really bad, but this experiment should have been over already, and it definitely needs to be over now. This Kawhi, James Harden experiment. I know they're kind of waiting, hedging their bets, waiting until the contracts expire. Seems like they were at this point, but this is bad, man. Like, and then you got people, of course, before this information came out, you had people running their mouths on ESPN talking about it's not Ty Lue's fault. But then you get a report immediately after that show airs by your ESPN colleague saying that, nope, it's Ty Lue and Chris Paul that had the real beef right here. They weren't on speaking terms. It's just a lot. It's sad, honestly. I don't know where Chris Paul goes from here, but
I'm not sure where he goes either. And I'm not sure where the Clippers go. It's kind of been a series, just a snowball of bad juju for them because obviously it started off with the Pablo Torre investigation that led to it was were they paying Kawhi illegally or whatever the case may be, which is I guess it made some news. It's kind of been swept under the rug, so I don't think people really care. But you signed Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal's out for the season. Now there's Chris Paul stuff. Ty Lue, his name is kind of intertwined, not necessarily say he's mentioned or he has anything to do with it, but it's intertwined with some of the stuff that happened with Chauncey Billups and the gambling stuff. So it's just like a black cloud kind of hanging over the Los Angeles Clippers, which some people might say that's been their whole existence, but I don't know what it's very Washington Commanders-esque where it's like you signed a bunch of old guys and wondering why you're not like it. If they all tell you that they all say, hey, it takes me a few times now that I'm older, it takes a little bit to ramp up in these games, ramp up in these seasons. You got the old guys. There's no real young players to spell them. There's no young star like a Shea who could have been there if you didn't trade him for PG, which obviously, I understand people want to talk about that. Nobody thought Shea was going to be this after his rookie season. Yeah. Like, it's Paul George, bro. Like, maybe not as many picks as they gave up, but like still. So it's a very tough situation just as a whole. Chris Paul, are you going to try to go to the Lakers? I feel like that's probably what a lot of the speculation is going to be. I think that could possibly be good for the Lakers, but it possibly could be a lot. It could possibly be good for the Lakers because I do think that they need that voice. Like basically the report is Chris Paul wasn't doing anything wrong. He's just being Chris Paul. Like he's just being himself, being trying to hold people accountable, I guess. And maybe people are saying because he's on the bench now, it don't hit the same. I don't know how you can say that when I'm the best player in this franchise's history as well. Like I run this shit. Like I change these broke niggas' life. Like, so I don't know. I don't know. To me, I feel like a lot of teams could benefit from a Chris Paul. I think that he's until now he's been, and I guess with the Warriors too, he's basically every place he's been, they've improved. I would say even the Spurs, until Wemby's injury, they improved and they were looking like a team that was going to be viable in the end. Maybe not a playoff team, but definitely a play-in. So I don't know. I think Chris Paul could go to a lot of teams and be a plus player, even if he's not somebody that's on the floor for 20 plus minutes.
But even then, like you went to part of the reason why you chose LA is because it was home. It's like, do you want to move across the country for 4 months? I mean, maybe you're at this point in the season where it really is just 5 months.
You already say you're retiring, so.
So I mean, I guess so, but yeah.
Or try to wait it out to see if somebody wants to sign you right before the playoffs or something. I don't know, like
after the trade deadline or something.
Yeah, so you don't have to. You could try to stay healthy, but I feel like that's a risky move. Like considering if you're just sitting out, now you try to come back. I don't know. I feel like he might try to go to the Rockets.
Houston. I was gonna say Houston, but at the same time, it's like,
dude, they probably do really need that type of voice because KD say he's not necessarily that for his leadership or whatever the case may be. But I don't know. It's very, very, very interesting situation that is going on there in LA. And then on the Giannis front, I don't care.
Chris, you got anything to say about Chris Paul being sent home?
I mean, that's a tough situation. I mean, I just don't know where you go from here. I mean, like you said, he was playing with the Clippers. I mean, he wasn't really playing much with the Clippers. He said, come on the bench. I mean, and like you said, Shy, I mean, that's probably what it was. Like, you got somebody, I know he was your franchise. He is your franchise in general as far as what he's done. But to be a voice on the bench and you not doing much, I mean, it probably is rubbing people the wrong way. I just don't know where he could possibly go and make an impact if that's what he want to do. And like you said, Giannis, fuck that.
Yeah, obviously it matters where Giannis ends up, but like this whole
until it happens,
back
like
and forth stuff, like I don't, I just don't. That's more so what I'm saying. I don't care about, But with that being said, Garland and Jared Allen.
Oh man.
I mean, but that's where you at though. You just, I mean, what are you willing to give up? I mean, obviously he is a generational player, but what are you willing to give? I mean, the Knicks, but what you going to trade for him? Like, what is the Knicks willing to give them?
The
Hawks, Ricochet, and some. You got to try to keep Jalen Johnson and Trae Young. Ricochet and Nikhil Alexander, I guess. Keep Trae Young and Jalen Johnson. You Gucci. Aneka and Chris Stapps. You go to fuck it.
I mean,
I don't know, with the second apron stuff. Obviously, I'm just throwing out teams that it would make sense for. With the second apron stuff, I don't know how feasible it is. If they're, that probably limits teams, limits it down to a lot. I don't know. The Giannis stuff is just, it's just a constant saga.
Tiring.
It's just, I feel like he's, I don't know. I ain't gonna, it is what it is. We'll see where he is. But with that being said, that gives us a wrap to another episode of the Speak Up Sports Podcast. We will catch y'all next week.
Sure.